Oh, yeah. What's up, Road Dog, P1, production expert, and/or sweet cougar freak? I am Roy Golden, Dorado myself, coming straight at you from around the side. Previously recorded now on YouTube Live. Go Google, like me. Hey, listen. Tonight I've got an audio treat so sweet, your cochleas will swallow it all. You know why? Because I am walking through each step of my plus more than 20-year journey to produce an album of all original music that went straight from here, I'm pointing to my heart, to your ears, I'm pointing to your ears. I call it a bedroom boy's best. If you have missed any episode so far, this is a 40 days in a row of YouTube live broadcasts as I share with you my remastering, remixing, retracking, redoing everything from my debut album, Omniville, which was released May 15th, 2016, available now from your favorite online music retailer. But it's not a bedroom boy's best. I had virtually no mixing experience whenever I began this whole process last year, and I think I've learned a lot. I sure do, and I want to share that experience with you. If you've missed anything, catch up on youtube.com/Roy Golden videos and or go to roygolden.com for the latest and greatest information regarding me, Roy Golden. Dorado myself. We got a lot of ground to cover tonight. Yesterday we left off with Doesn't Anybody Wanna. Now it's time to have a listen to what will be my first single release to radio. The song I wrote first lyrics to back in summer of 1994. It's called One Last Ride. Let's give it a listen now, and then I'll be back for some commentary. From my debut album, Omniville, here is One Last Ride.
I've got another 100 miles on the interstate. There's a rodeo in Texas and I just can't wait. Pretty soon I'll be on that bull leather in my hand, and you know I'll be riding high at least until I land. But the one I love is getting restless, and it's hard to forget her sweet kisses. Yeah, but I need one last ride.
Ba-dun-ba-da-da.
I felt as if my whole world was right. Now I'm on my way home, but somehow I feel alone. When I find her there, I'm gonna tell her I was wrong. But this place is filled with emptiness. I guess she got tired of my broken
Bow, ba-dum, bow, down, 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 down.
Give me one last try. I need one last try. Ooh, baby, one last try. One last try.
From my debut album, Omniville, that is One Last Ride. Whew!
Come on now.
Oh, there's more.
You know you want to. Give me one last ride.
We call that a little lanyap in Louisiana.
I knew you couldn't resist.
Woo-wee! 142 beats per minute. That is wall to wall, pedal to the metal energy. Love that song. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I love it, baby. I love it so much. Ooh. Where do I begin? The year 1994. I was nigh unto 14 years old. Not even nigh unto, I was. I went to what's called Fanfare. Fanfare. It is a country music festival held in Nashville, Tennessee. I believe it's called the CMA Fest these days. Back then it was called Fanfare. At the Nashville Fairgrounds, and you would go for 3, 4, 5 days. Country music artists would have exhibit booths, and they would sign autographs, and you could take pictures. You could wait in line. I did all that. I did all that very much. Very much. I did all that. Oh, here's a... check this out. Oh, my gosh. Oh, sweet memories of me and Shania Twain, my favorite Canadian, Shania. It was like that. You get in line and then she would sign autograph and take a little snappy poo picture. It was great. It was great. That year I got to meet Toby Keith and Mark Chestnut and Diamond Rio and Confederate Railroad and Clint Black, Steve Wariner. It's a great time. Great time. I had been singing. That was between my 8th and 9th grade years. So I had just finished middle school and I was on my way into high school. In the 7th grade, I had won a talent competition in our middle school in Bossier City, Louisiana. Holla, Baffby. Oh, what's out? Watch out. Really are sweet cougar freaks. I was the Cope Cougars. I went to Cope Middle School in Bossier City, Louisiana. And we had a talent contest. I sang Steve Wariner, Like a River to the Sea, in my Garth Brooks checkered in pieces Mo Better shirt. The real deal, y'all. The real deal. I'm into cosplay. What can I say? I put on the performance of a lifetime. My voice had never sounded it in all the hours of rehearsals that I did that song. It just took over that night. And I was fortunate enough to be recognized as the winner of $50. And that's when I began my professional career. I'm a professional. I get paid. Oh, I did, George. I did very much get paid that night. But I loved country music and listened to KRMD out there in Shreveport, 101.1 FM. That was my country music station of choice. I had KWKH over there too. But I was a KRMD fan. Listened to it constantly. Listened to my Garth Brooks CDs. That was back 1990 was No Fences. 91 was Rope in the Wind. And then came The Chase. And then came In Pieces. Loved In Pieces. Loved The Chase too. Love them all. Sevens. Oh, I was listening to Sevens the other day. Such amazing work by Alan Reynolds and engineer Mark Miller. Garth in his prime, baby. That was prime Garth back then. He's still got it though, doesn't he? Reigning Entertainer of the Year, my man, still doing it at a high level, at the highest level, I might add, in his career, the number one selling U.S. solo artist of all time, GB. What's mean GB, man? Oh. Y'all don't believe me, Roll Dog? Y'all don't believe me, huh? Y'all don't believe me? Yeah, look at this. Check this out. Oh, there we are. Oh, he's so cute. He's such a cute Garth at Oklahoma State. Big 8. I wonder what that... Oh, it means the... I thought that could mean something else, but... Oh, I see some baseball on there, baby. Some Big 8, Oklahoma State. OSU is very famous back then. Very famous now for the baseball program. Not OSU Cowboys. The baseball program. I was big into sports, man. Had the Oklahoma State hitting coach coming on down, teaching us some things all about the swing and all kinds of physics. It was good. Anyway, that's me and GB. This is at Fanfare 1996-ish. After that Fanfare 1994, I'd been singing for a bit. I'd been in choir that year before, in my 8th grade year. And I purchased a guitar after, it must have been, I really want to say it was after the talent show. Went and got a guitar, but it didn't really get a whole lot of use until after Fanfare in 1994. I got serious. Why not so serious? Why so serious? Why not so serious, I always say. Life is short. Let's get serious now. Let's get this thing on. Let's do some living. Let's do some loving. Yeah. I got serious about writing and learning to play an instrument. I've already established I've got a little bit something going on with the voice. Okay, that's nice. Let's continue to improve on that. Back in those days, there was the big thing was if you're going to make it in country music, you had to be able to sing and write and play. You had to do it all, and you had to be great in all three phases, coach. In all 3 phases. It's a mad process of all 3 phases, and you got to be great in all of them. We're going to be champions, Roll Dog. We're going to have a shot to make it in this as a profession, a professional country music artist, entertainer, and songwriter and musician. Like all my heroes. Like GB, Clint Black, Steve Wariner. Alan Jackson. Oh, Arista Allen. Oh, Alan Arista, Mr. Arista himself, Alan Jackson. Alan was real hot, real hot, real hot. I came home. I got serious about learning to play guitar. The way I would learn how to play is I would get songbooks. Songbooks were real big because my stepdad played piano. He could sight read. In the songbooks, they had the chords, the guitar chords that were all mapped out. Instead of taking lessons, I took lessons for a little bit at a local music shop. It just didn't. I was younger though. I was 6th grade then, and it was the guitar was real high action and just hard to play. My fingers were just young and supple and didn't have those calluses built up yet. It's hard. Still growing. Still a growing boy. Still a growing boy. I would get these songbooks and I would play for hours and hours and hours trying to make chords. G's and D's and C's and A's and E's. Couldn't get bar chords. Try to get that B minor though. That's all I wanted was to get that B minor chord for the first time. To hit it. To hit that B minor chord. Bar chord. I still can't hit it. That's the extent of my guitar playing. I know just enough to put together some chords. The way that I would put together chords was, and I love to listen to, I love the sound of Little Texas. They would use different flavors for the G chord and for the C chord and different movements. I think that was their songwriting skill. I think most of the guys in the band had a background in rock. And it was, I could be wrong about that. I'm just speculating. I think they were well versed in a multi-genres. Little Texas back in the early 90s, man. Back in the Brady Seals days. Oh my gosh. It's a hot band, man. I saw them at Billy Bob's. It's a good night. It's a good night. It was a fun night. I would hit these chords over and over and over and over and over again. That summer. I got serious about it. The whole cliches about your parents just wishing you would stop because it sounds so horrible. Well, at least it wasn't a French horn or the tuba. I love the French horn, by the way. Beautiful instrument. It can be nerve-wracking, though, when practices are going on. Sure can. So can guitar. Particularly a newbie rube guitar trying to play Little Texas songs. Or Steve Wariner songs. Or Sammy Kershaw songs. I was into I love Black Hawk. Black Hawk. Goodbye says it all. It sure can smell the rain. That was one of the ones I would play. And Tim McGraw had just come on the scene. Oh, Tim McGraw back in the day. Oh, my gosh. Old Timmy. Sweet Timmy. Sweet Tim McGraw. Sweet Tim McGraw. Oh, there we are. Yep. Me and Tim. Good time that night. That's good, man. It's good. Look at the Structure shirt. That's a Structure. That was my favorite shirt. The t-shirt underneath. I got to get it layered up. Oh, I got to get all layered up. What's going on here, though? I almost expect a nip slip at some point in time. Yeah. It's a cool guy, though. Cool guy. Love his music. I mentioned Tim McGraw because his song, Not a Moment Too Soon, was the first song that I ever learned to play, that I learned to play on guitar, and I played it in front of an audience live. That's the first song I ever did. The reason was It was an easy chord progression. It was the only chords I could do. G, E minor, C, D. If I'm not mistaken, they played it a half step or capo on one. I like to play it down a half a step. I used to think that love would never find me, and the one who cares was lost somewhere in time. You know that one, right? That was it. Not a moment too soon, without a minute to spare. Yeah. First one. That was down in Natchitoches. We moved from Bossier City, Louisiana to Natchitoches, Louisiana. If you don't know where Natchitoches is, oh my gosh, let's go Google it. Go Google it. Like me. Mm-hmm. Oh, just LA. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, there it is. Oh, take it easy, NSU. There it is. It's cloudy in 68 right now. Quick facts. It's a small city. Natchitoches is a small city. Well, what are you judging it by? What's your point of reference, buddy? There it is. Let's zoom out. Here's Shreveport. Okay. Here's Natchitoches. You just ride right on down. Just take a ride right on down. Oh, sweet I-49. Meep. Pilgrim's Pride. There it is, man. It's regional airport. Mm-hmm. There's the loop. I had to take the loop on around to my high school over there, man. Good times in Natchitoches. Natchitoches, Louisiana. Here's where I am now. Oh, there's where I was born right there. Is Tyler. Tyler, Texas, the Rose City, Rose capital of, I don't know what it is anymore. Used to be the largest rose garden in the U.S., if not the world, at one time. It's real pretty out there in the rose garden. Earl Campbell's from there. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football himself is from there, and I'm from there. That's what matters. That's what counts, isn't it? Where I come from. There's old Canton. Look at that. So here's Dallas, and I'm right in here right now. Beep. Beep, beep, beep. Beep. There's Grapevine, and here's Irving, and I'm right on over there in the ranch, Road Dog. I'm in the Mad Ranch. Former home of the Dallas Football Cowboys Club. American football, that is. Dallas Cowboys, the world's most valuable sports franchise. Fun times in Natchitoches. Fun times in Tyler. Fun times in Dallas. Fun times in Irving. Fun times in Bossier City. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I played Tim McGraw's Not a Moment Too Soon. I had my Garth Hart monitor shirt on for that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I've got video. Oh, I'm sure we'll see it at some point. As I started to learn to play the guitar or learn to play chords so that I could play songs that I liked on the guitar and sing at the same time, I also began writing poetry, lyrics for songs. Although I did not have an extensive background on the musical side of things, I had taken choir for a minute. What gave me, it was better than nothing. It was a good foundation. I had a wonderful choir teacher, Miss Deere. Oh, sweet Angie. Oh, sweet Angela. I had all kinds of great teachers. Mm-hmm. Great teachers. Fantastic teachers all throughout my career. growing up. Any school that I went to was great. Greatness. That's where I picked up on the Shakespearean thing. It was in Bossier City there. AIM, activating inquisitive minds. Uh-huh. Yeah. We would read plays. We studied Shakespeare a lot. All kinds of literature, but I was particularly fond of Shakespearean plays, which we would read aloud in class. Merchant of Venice we did aloud in class. We would listen to records, albums in the background. Some Annie Get Your Gun action. Any note you can sing, I can sing higher. I can sing any note higher than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Mm-hmm. Sweet AIM. That learning gave me the foundation for learning poetic methods and reading that type of poetry, Shakespearean sonnets in particular. As I developed in high school and got involved with theater in high school, I began to do things like poetry interpretation. Loved it. Mm-hmm. One-act play competitions. The point is, I would study and perform in a variety of literary art forms of literary art, whether it was written for a one-act play or it was written for love poetry or whether it was a song lyric. I was doing that daily as part of my edumacation. And it was experience I could draw from. That experience in middle school and the Shakespearean things formed the foundation for my poetic affinity. I started writing lyrics there in 1994 for this song, One Last Ride. See how I took the scenic route all the way back to it? Oh, y'all thought I was getting off track. We got to understand where I've been coming from. I want you to know me. I want to be emotionally naked for you in every way. Oh, yeah. I do. It's important to me. This is the only format that I have available to me at the current time where I can be completely myself. Freely. Know what I mean? It's music within the boundaries of music. It's another reason I love it. It's my preferred medium. My preferred method of artistic communication. Love me some musics. Now, love me some musics back then. After I got back from Fanfare, 1994, I began composing the lyrics to this song. And those lyrics, 98% of it, I took probably between 3 and 5 days to work it. I had that melody, that da 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 da. I knew how I wanted it to sound, and I knew another thing. I didn't know much about music composition. I still don't, let's be honest. But what I did know, what do we know? Well, what do we know? Well, I do know I like drums. I like busy drums. I like big drums. I like clicky, kicky drums. Not only would I listen to Garth Brooks, as I got into high school, started listening to... actually, it wasn't even high school. I remember what it was. Okay. 7th grade. Winter. I'm exclusively country radio. Bossier City, Louisiana at the time. I went to spend the night at a friend's house. And he had a radio on. He kept his radio on. It was on a multi-genre, I wouldn't call it a top 40, but it was a pop station. Let's call it that. It's a pop station. I don't remember which station. But I remember hearing Elvis Presley, Suspicious Minds for the first time. I couldn't fall asleep whenever I was just listening to the radio. I heard Elvis's rendition of Suspicious Minds. I'd already heard Dwight Yoakam's rendition. Which movie was that on? Oh gosh, I gotta go Google it again. Here, bear with me. Sarah, yeah, there it is. Honeymoon in Vegas. That's right. So Honeymoon in Vegas was 92. I'm not going crazy. I'd heard Dwight Yoakam's rendition, which is on the soundtrack for this, and I loved the song. Man, I didn't know nothing about no Elvis Presley, man. I didn't know nothing about no Elvis Suspicious Minds, man. Until I heard it on the radio that night, and I'm like, wow, that's really hot. It's really great. Mm-hmm. I did that for karaoke in Orlando one night. It was a good night, Road Dog. It was a good night. Mm-hmm. Oh, my sweet cougar freaks. It was good. I heard that, and that same night, on the same radio station that played Elvis Presley's Suspicious Minds, played Bon Jovi's Bed of Roses. Keep the Faith was out. I want to lay you down in a bed of roses, George. Sweet job. Sweet job. Bed of Roses. Loved it. Immediately I fell in love with it. I'd known Bon Jovi. I remember the Slippery When Wet. Right? Wasn't there some controversy with the tattoo? They had to go back and reshoot the artwork or try and fake Photoshop it. If Photoshop was even around back then, because it was too raw and there was a bunch of outrage about it. Wasn't that the album? I was young, and I was listening to Debbie Gibson then. Mm-hmm. Oh, sweet Debbie Gibson. Mad Electric Youth, Road Dog. Feel the power. See the energy coming on strong. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I listen to everything. I listen to Nothing Gets By Me. I listen to everything. I heard Bon Jovi's Bed of Roses. And then I fell in love with the song. I fell in love with the sound. I got that album, Keep the Faith, and it's one of my favorite albums of all time. I spent a lot of time listening to that album. Anybody care to take a guess who produced and or mixed that album? How many hours and hours and hours and hours I spent listening to his work before I even knew who he is? Three, two, one. If you answered Bob Rock. You're right. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Bob Rock. Listen to a lot of his stuff without even realizing. I just, for whatever reason, every CD that I picked up that I wanted, that I was interested in, his name was on virtually 80% of them, at least. I love that Bon Jovi sound on the Keep the Faith. It's one of my favorite albums. Favorite albums. Their favorite album of mine is called, can you guess? These Days. It's one after Keep the Faith. Guess who mixed that? Bob Clearmountain. Bob Clearmountain. I spent more time listening to These Days than I did listening to Keep the Faith. I've heard Bob Clearmountain mix on that album over and over and over, and it is ingrained in my young, impressionable memory. So busy, and yet everything perfectly audible. Does that make sense? So much going on, and yet if you want to pick out the tiniest part of any part of the mix, you can hear it if you focus on it. But when you listen to his mixes, it's all one mix. It's all focused on delivering an efficient message, serving the song, and yet still maintaining each musician's and each part's identity. I love that, and that's the type of mix that I want to have. Being able to pick apart each individual part at any point during the song and hear it perfectly and follow it all the way through if we want. It's a worthy goal. A worthy goal. I'll give you my bedroom boy's best to do my best, very best job here 1 year after the fact of thinking about things and listening and listening and listening and listening. It's hard to explain to others that I'm actively participating in this work as a professional music production person. That's what I do. Listening to other music, other mixes is, I would say that has been 94% of what I've done over the last year is listen to other things in a way that I wouldn't listen to it as a consumer, listening to it as a mixing person. Over and over and over and over on a variety of playback devices. Studio monitors, mastering speakers, in-ear headphone earbuds. Just play it through the phone speakers, from the TV, everything. That's been a large majority of what I've spent my time on the past year. And it's been critical for my growth. I can hear things that I couldn't hear before, and it is such an amazing feeling to listen on this. I've got the Rock Mark II, or my near-field monitors, and I've got a custom set of Tecton Audio Design hi-fi speakers, Lore S. Tekton audio. Eric Alexander out there in Utah. Built these custom mastering speakers, these hi-fi speakers, designed for hi-fi playback. It is a completely different experience on these high-fidelity speaker systems. And I think I mentioned this on my podcast with James Ivey from Pro Tools Expert in 2015. This is back in going almost on 2 years now since we've done that. I'm curious to see how, if anything, has changed. I'll have to go back and re-listen to that. But I do remember saying, after I got these Rocks, Unity Audio Rock Mark II, after I got these speakers that Keep the Faith album, the opening track, I Believe, I'd listen to that however many hours and hours and hours and hours, and I experienced the song in a way, and I heard things that I just never heard before. How amazing is that, to be able to appreciate the musical art that I love personally, the way it was intended, the way it was mixed. It still astounds me. I never get tired of it. Hours and hours and hours, and that's all I want to do right now. I've been listening to a lot of Michael McDonald lately. Amazing stuff. Trying to get my timings down. Remember that? Working on timings, if you've seen my other videos. Is getting in the pocket, getting just ahead of that wave of energy that builds in the song, and that is traveling with the tempo, and the band is right there. I've got to push that. I've got to be right out in front of that wave, otherwise I get wiped out. The energy gets wiped out. Well, I haven't experienced anyone else that is better than, or not as better than, but that does such an incredible job of being perfectly on time and still delivering the lines in a very soulful and emotive fashion. It is always spot on. It's eerie how perfect it is. His interpretation, quality of the notes, as well as his timings. His timings are what astound me now. I've been cleansing my ear palette with that, and with some Toto 4, and going back to the Bon Jovi These Days, that Bob Clearmountain. Some early Garth stuff, the Garth Rope in the Wind and the Garth Sevens, the Garth No Fences. All that good stuff. Great stuff. In a way, listening to it in a way that is actively engaged as a music production professional. Try and hear things that they do that work and that are very special within the mix, so that I can apply those same principles. Not do it the same way, per se, but apply those same principles to my mixes so that I can give you a bedroom boy's best. That's my worthy goal. Lyrics, 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 lyrics. One last ride. It took until about 1997 before I took the lyric and molded it to a chord progression. Or rather, took the lyric and then molded the chord progression to the lyric. The song, as it's constructed, I just willy-nilly choose chords back in the day. I was listening to a lot of Meatloaf at the time. Jim Steinman penned songs. Jim Steinman, my favorite songwriter. Rock opera. I love the rock opera deal. If you guys have seen Bat 3 live, that's the kind of stage show that I wish to try and emulate. I love that show. Love it. Love it. Love that theatrical performance aspect of a Meatloaf live show. They did it at the Roundhouse there in London. Oh, what's up, Roundhouse? It's a cool special. Oh yeah. Aspen Miller. I was listening to a lot of Meatloaf, Jim Steinman songs. Jim Steinman. And he would, the way he composes music, it there's no rules, there's no regulations. You, as the songwriter, we can create whatever we want. We can create whatever tempo we want to change tempos. We want to change keys. We want to use a chord that's not even in the, we can do whatever we want. Just stick to ones, fours, and fives. Is that what you're going to do? How about it? I hear things in flat 7. I use a flat 7 a lot. And I think that goes back to my early 90s country roots. I hear that a lot in early 90s country. Love me some flat 7s. Take that 7, flatten it on down. 1, 4, 5, flat 7, minor 6. There you go. You got yourself a good one. And now shift something up. Start on the 4. Like me. One Last Ride, the melody, da 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 da. I chose, and I've always had the thought that the fiddle would be the lead instrument on this. So Jason Roller, who plays fiddle on this album, he took the lead on this, and his part for this song was just so amazing. One of the reasons that it took me so long to mix the first one is that anytime the song would come up to his fiddle solo after the second chorus, I never stopped playback in the middle of it. Even now, if I hear it and it starts, I have to finish it before I stop the playback head. Oh, I just love it. We'll listen to it again in a second. His performance throughout the entire song, though, is tremendous. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. It's truly tremendous. As is everybody's. But Jason really shines on this song. This is the song that I want to release to radio. The unleashed version shall be unleashed. And if we play it on Texas music stations or whoever wants to play it, independent on the local music scene hour, a lot of radio stations now will have an hour or two set aside every week to showcase local artists. I hope somebody plays it one time. I'd love to hear it on the radio. That'd be cool. I gotta make it radio ready, though. That's why I'm here. What am I going to do to make it radio ready? WATODO list. It's a WATODO list. My WATODO list. One Last Ride. Let's hear it again, and then we'll start making some changes. And I'll stop and start for playback commentary and to make my WATODO list of changes for One Last Ride. Here it is again. All right there. I love that. That is a part that I took from Smith Curry's on steel guitars and this dirty lappy, as I like to call it. I took that from let's see, that's going to be after the third chorus as they're winding up the song. Give me one last ride, da-da-da, one last turn down, da-da-da, meow, 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 meow. My first thought was to get Greg Forsman, who plays electric guitars on the album, to get him to do an octave guitar part of that melody, to lay down an isolated track that was just dun, 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 and then octave that, or harmonize that, or octave and harmonize it. But we were at the end of the day, and I thought I got what I need, and I did. I ended up using this. That's why the call to arms. Da, 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 da. Love it. That's going to stay on the album version. That will be cut out for the radio version, of course. Let's continue.
I've got another 100 miles on the interstate. There's a rodeo in Texas and I just...
Did you hear Greg Forsman's that little bit of feedback there after he hit it? I love that. I love that part. I love the way the song opens. If only I can sing this in time. I brought a decent performance to this song, but as everything else, it's just not in time. So things tend to feel like they start and stop, and the energy never really gets going the way that it should. Gonna fix that though. Gonna work real hard to fix that. Gonna maybe take out some unnecessary words and modifiers and things of that nature to tighten this thing out. Let's keep listening. Let's keep listening now.
Can't wait. Pretty soon I'll be on that bull leather in my hand, and you know I'll be riding high at least until I land. But the one I love is getting...
Hear what I mean? And you know I'll be riding high at least until I land. But the one I love is getting restless. That's not the way I sang it. At least until I land. But the one. Coming in late, having to rush the entry to catch up. Then having to slow down so that I don't pass everybody. And then everybody catches up, starts to pass me. Then I got to rush to the end of it. That's very consistent. Hey, at least I do it the same way. I am very consistent. Once I get in the groove, that's the way I sing it. I'll show you during vocal comping. I can comp in the middle of a breath on multiple takes, and you won't ever know. It's the same. It's the same. The problem is whenever I sing the song wrong, I sing it wrong the same way every time. For me, it's muscle memory. It's all muscle memory. These notes, these songs, the delivery, it's all muscle memory. And that helps me be consistent performance-wise. I want my worst night to sound just like my best night vocally. Having the worst night of my life vocally, it sounds, and it still sounds amazing. That's my goal. See if I can get there. I need professional help, though, to get there, don't I? I sure do.
And it's hard to forget her sweet kisses. Yeah, but I need one last ride. Ooh, one last ride. One last shot at all the glory. One last chance to ease my pain. What good is a man who hasn't got his pride? I need one last ride. Well, tonight had to be...
WATODO list. This is a global change. Make sure something is always in focus, right? Make sure something is always in focus. Rebalance and EQ the drums and the bass. That's going to help. Rework guitar arrangements, especially for fast songs, especially for this song. This song is fast, not fast song. Fast songs, especially for fast songs. Bring vocals way out front. I'm okay with the vocals about where they are with this. I don't dislike it. But retracking the vocals using a metronome and making sure that I'm in time is going to allow me to reinforce that melody and repetition where there is not a whole lot of repetition in this song from a chord structure standpoint, with the exception of the choruses. Retracking the vocals using the metronome is definitely going to help in that regard. Get some getting some familiarity, at least with back-to-back lines. It's going to help. It's going to help. Reworking those guitar arrangements, though. I can't wait to redo this because Greg Forsman laid down some really great stuff on his tracks for the rhythm guitar. And I think that with a little bit of creativity in the guitar arrangement is going to free up that fiddle just a bit. Creative use of masking of Dane Bryant, who plays keys and organs on this. Dane Bryant's piano underneath, creative use of masking. He's got a great underlying current of energy that is there, and it's part of the mix that I don't want to be too obvious, but I feel like when I take it out, I'm definitely missing something. I love to leave it in, use it as masking. It helps give more of a live feel. This has to be live and energetic and peppy. This is the last song that I do during the live show. I've got a murderous row of 3 songs that the last 15 minutes of the show is just wall-to-wall energy. I start big and I finish fast and big. This song has got to be perfect. I've got to get this song in the groove of that energy so it's the last thing that the audience hears. That's my sweet audience, my sweet audience member. That means you. Come see me live. It's going to be fun. It's going to be country opera. How about that? It's going to be country opera. Not rock opera, but country opera. I'm going to bring some showmanship to this thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, WATODO list. What do I need to do here? Masking. I'm going to put masking. Creative use of masking to enhance energy of track. And parentheses. Oh. No. Whoops. Piano, rhythm guitar, specifically. I'm thinking what I may can do is that Bob Clearmountain method of getting a rhythm guitar that is sitting just below the surface of the mix, but is still there if you really want to hear it. My fake acoustic guitar. There won't be an acoustic guitar on this. I think that could help. Let's continue.
The greatest night of my life. my whole world was right. Now I'm on my way home, but somehow I feel alone. When I find her there, I'm gonna tell her I was.
So was that a key change? Go A, D, E, A, D, E, to a C, to an F, to a C, to an A. Call it whatever you want. I call it my song. I can do what I want, and that's how it feels right to me. The lyric is, tonight had to be the greatest night of my life. For 8 seconds. You ever time an orgasm? I know I sure have. Not just a bull ride, is it? It's about 8 seconds. Well, 8 to 10, maybe 11, 12, up to 20. Although we can take the lyric to be a literal, I am a cowboy guy who's going to the rodeo. We've all heard that. But what kind of rodeo is it really? Well, if you know me, it's probably... We could make a case that this is mayhaps symbolic of some infidelity that is going on and then some remorse at this. I'm on my way home, but somehow I feel alone. I got that little itch, that feeling like, something ain't right here. Well, that's okay. I'll just I'll make amends when I get back. I'll ask forgiveness, not permission. Yeah, I went out and had a good old fun time is what happened, and left the girl at home, and she's had enough of it. Good old fun time. Just insert whatever activity. Golf. Rodeo. Boys' night out. Whatever you want. Distraction. It's something that is a clear indication of the one at home. The one you're in a serious committed relationship with. They are not the priority in your life. It's obvious you've made them not the priority and they're pissed off about it. I know that feel. I know that feel very much. Sounds like I'm the jaded girl in this song. I'm on my way home, but somehow I feel alone. And there's a change in the chord structure there. It's now there's a change of heart. There's a bit of repentance that has started. Does that make sense? And to accentuate that, I chose to alter the chord progressions for everything that led up to through the first verse and the first chorus. The choruses remain the same structurally, but in this, the first verse is different. It's a different part of the story, and so the chord progression is different. Second part of the story is this. Seems like it's this building and this change that has taken place. And the third part of the story, as we'll hear in a second, reflects the same change in the second part of the story, second verse. Know what I mean? I do this stuff for a reason. Every single thing that is in the song, every word, every chord progression, every part of the mix that I arranged in such a way has to do with enhancing the message of the song. And you remember how I opened this particular episode of A Bedroom Boy's Best when I said it's my 20-year journey to produce an album of all original music that went straight from here, as I pointed to my heart, to your ears. Technically, any independent artist who is doing what I'm doing here, producing your own album, writing and producing the material. Is essentially going through the same process. Be clear about that. I find, though, that maybe I have an opportunity, maybe, to do something that's very unique in the sense of this is all me. So there's an opportunity to make the mix and the master and the arrangement, the songwriting, the hiring of the specific musicians and the instruction to the musicians, the producing. It's all focused on one thing, and that is sharing the message that I have with you on a level that is abound with emotional intimacy. There's a chance for you and I to make a connection through the magic of this music that you can see deep down into my soul, completely emotionally naked right here in front of you, should you choose to do so. Every single part of the music reflects that, of this product. Does that make sense? Then again, I do have the flair for the dramatic. Let's continue.
But this place is filled with emptiness. I guess she got tired of my broken promises. Yeah, I need one last ride. Ooh, one last ride. One last shot at all the glory. One last chance to ease her pain. What good is a man who hasn't got his pride? I need one last ride. Oh, I wanna.
Wow. Amazing job by the band and Jason's solo there. Love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. Nice job there vocally on the broken promises. Yeah, I need one last ride. That's actually fairly consistent for me. That's a nice note. One nice note for me to hit. Like it. Let's get it a little more in the pocket. I'm digging the background vocal parts on this as well. It's a little bit loose. That's how I like it. Background wise, in general, for songs like this, I don't need it to be so perfectly produced. I don't use vocal line. I use very little scooching over of the words unless it's really off. If it's really off, I'll just do it again until it's tight enough, and then I'll call it a day. That's how I prefer to do it anyway. Maybe I'll take a little more of a diligent approach to that side of things during this mixing, or maybe I'll just sing the background vocals a little bit more in tune this time. Although I don't use pitch correction on the lead vocals on the entire album, I do extensively use pitch correction for the background vocals. Absolutely do. Unashamedly, unabashedly. Let's continue. I don't have any changes for that part. Really not much. I don't think I'm going to have very many more changes to this song other than the global changes and plus making sure that the masking is going to enhance the energy of the track. But let's continue, and I may change my mind.
And that's when I knew that I was down to my last chance.
was a great part of the music video that I shot for this. A pretty funny part right there. I'm digging it so far. Give me one last ride. Almost the same exact technique I used on Kiss Another Wave. With the mouth wide open. When I dropped down the effects that I had on the vocal. And that's a very intimate, give me one last ride. Very close mic, proximity effect going on. It's a plea. Come on, baby. Oh, give me one last ride. Really putting it on, you know what I mean? And she's having none of it. She's having none of it. Or is she? Let's continue.
One last shot at all the glory. One last chance to ease your pain. What good is a man?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Of course, it's going to have something to do with the vocal on here. Diction, diction, diction. One last ride. Make sure that I close that T and not one last ride. Nope. One last ride. One last ride. One last ride. I've got to be able to do a perfect job. A perfect job of closing and opening those syllables. Opening my words and closing my words perfectly every time. As I do on my voice acting voice or my voiceover voice. Same principles apply, and they apply even more to the expression of a musical lyric. It slips my mind sometimes to remember this. I really wish I did have a professional help that's there reminding me of these types of things during the tracking process. But I'll just have to do it myself. Dorado it myself. Hey, a bedroom boy's best. Diction during chorus. I'll remind myself to do that. Whereas sometimes I get caught up in the energy of the song and trying to be in that moment, performance-wise. And it just gets not tight enough. It needs to be tight. It needs to be tight and it needs to be emotive. Like Michael McDonald. That's going to be my thought. Michael McDonald. That's what's going to be my thought from now on. I'm going to give me some action going. Think Michael, what would Michael McDonald do? How would he sing this here? He would sing it perfectly in time, emotive, and make it sexy at the same time. He would, George, he would. Have you heard his rendition of Ain't No Mountain High Enough? Ain't no mountain high enough. In the early 2000s, it's now one of my reference tracks that I use. I love that mix. That's a Tom Lord-Alge mix. And it is amazing. It is an amazing record. A great song, a timeless song, yeah? But his rendition is just, oh, it's good. It's not good, it's great. It's fantastic. It is a reference track. It is a, hey, if you're going to study some music, and you're going to study a mix to try and emulate the characteristics of, go to that one. I love the mix of the drums. The snare is just, oh, I love that. I love that drum mix on that. and everything is crystal clear in a perfect place within the sound stage. The performance is amazing. The song is amazing. Check it out if you haven't already. Next.
Hasn't got his pride. Give me one last ride. Give me one last ride. I need one last ride. Ooh, baby, one last ride. One last
I need to rework that last note. Reimagine the last note is what I typed there. I'm going to reimagine that last note. Show ram. Diction during the chorus, reimagine the last note. And I like the little lanyap here at the end. Let's go ahead and finish this out.
Come on now. You know you want to. Give me one last ride.
Come on now. You know you want to. Give me one last ride. There's a lot of different ways I could do this. The you know you want to, I need to rework just slightly. It's almost there, but it's not exactly what I want. I am that creepy voice. If there's one thing about me that gets a response every single time, 100% of the time, it's that people are creeped the math out by that voice. I can work with that. I'm a creepy freaky. I am. There's a place in this world for the guy with the really creepy voice, like me. Come on now. You know you want to. Give me one last ride. Come on now. You know you want to. Give me one last ride. I knew you couldn't resist. 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 I've got creepy down. Let's continue. Big finish. Woo!
I knew you couldn't resist.
There it was from my debut album, Omniville, One Last Ride. The very first song I wrote the lyrics to back in 1994, and it is 2017 now. This more than 20-year journey to produce an album of all original music that went straight from here as I point to my heart to your ears, as I point to your ears. We're going to be doing this all night long. Thank you so much for staying with me. That was One Last Ride. Up next, My Everything. I will be right back here. It is now 23:23. So we're past 11:11. Uh-oh. Things get crazy after 11:11. I will be right back here. Let's call it midnight 30 o'clock to talk My Everything and only temporary. I am Roy Golden, Dorado myself. Hopefully you've been entertained, inspired, and encouraged to make the music you want to hear, be the change you need to see, and live the life you dared to dream. Why make believe when you can make be live? Like me. Later, road dog.